Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. It is your boy Culture Shock. We are here to talk about the Week 8 matchup between the Indianapolis Colts and the Houston Texans. Now, of course, this game, Houston's very own and former Indianapolis Colts, Andre Johnson, got his jersey and pretty much number raised up in the rafters. First Hall of Famer for the Houston Texans. So he got his appreciation tonight. But this game ended in a crazy ending. 20-23, the Indianapolis Colts wind up losing this game in the Week 8 matchup, and this was solely on the offense on Sunday. I think this is another week where the play calling just hindered the offense. The play calling did the quarterback no favors. The quarterback did the offense no favors, and it was just abysmal, honestly. There was some comments made and speculations of the fan base pretty much growing tired of Anthony Richardson after a comment he made about him taking him a play off. There was a play where Anthony Richardson walked off the field, tapped his helmet, and pretty much sat and let Joe Flacco come in. They asked him at the end of the game uh, if he was hurt or anything, but his response was, "I'm tired." Of course, Colts fans did not like to hear that from a guy that's 6'4", 240 pounds. Um, before he took himself out, there was a hurry up offense. There was a play where he ran down the field. There was a play where he was running again, and then they were running a fast tempo. A guy 6'4", 240 is going to be tired. Honestly, none of us were professional athletes for the NFL. None of us played quarterback in the NFL, so none of us is 6'4", 240 throwing the football either. I mean, so of course the comment was kind of crazy, but he hasn't even played a full season yet. This guy's been banged up with injuries, so I know the season's going to take a toll on him, especially if he's doing a lot of run around at that weight. But I mean, of course, it's a crazy comment to make when you're the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. But even still, after he said that, I mean, after he did that, later on in the drive, he wound up throwing the dot to Josh Downs. So and then wind up scoring with Jonathan Taylor after that play. So I don't know why so many people are, um, irritated from the comment. Of course, it's something crazy to say, but I mean, he was tired. It is what it is. Like I said, it didn't take him out the game. It was one play where they're pretty much handing the ball off. He can't sit out. I think that's kind of wild. But anywho, the offense, like I said, it did the quarterback no favors. Anthony Richardson struggled in the division matchup for the tiebreaker. Both teams fight for playoffs. One team, the Houston Texans, rolling. They just coming off of a loss last week, and the Indianapolis Colts coming off of a victory, needed this win. Now, of course, with Jonathan Taylor and DeForest Buckner coming back, Jonathan Taylor played out of his mind. He showed why he's missed in the run game heavily. Him coming back this game, it just showed he was dogging all game. I think we could have given him the ball a little bit more. Michael Pittman Jr. was non-existent. Uh, there was a lot of drops in the first half. A lot of drops, and I know a lot of people want to talk about the QB play and the things of that nature, but there was a lot of placements of the football where Anthony Richardson pretty much put them in their hands and they dropped the football. Now later on, a lot of those passes was on Richardson too. So like I said, it's a 50-50 when you look at both sides, trying to explain what the heck went on. A lot of plays on the players, a lot of plays on the coach, and a lot of plays on the quarterback as well. So, like I said, the scheme did him no favors. You can see later on in the second half and the fourth, the scheme started to favor Anthony Richardson. There was a lot of motions, a lot of tosses, a lot of QB runs, a lot of option plays. That's more Richardson's speed. Him trying to be a pocket passer, I know they're experimenting it, but I think it's just a failed experiment. You're trying to take away from the craft that Richardson has, and I think that just hinders the offense a lot. You brought in Jonathan Taylor back to help Richardson's development. I think if you run more of a steady pace, a dink and dunk conservative type offense where you can mix in runs with the QB with Taylor and then, get the guys open across the middle because you got A.D. Mitchell, you got Josh Downs. Those guys were on fire this week for the Colts. I think both of those guys played pretty well. Alec Pierce could have had a touchdown, but Michael Pittman Jr. had a block, wound up bringing the touchdown back. But I think A.D. Mitchell and I think Josh Downs, out of all of them, had a very solid game. He showed why he's one of the best receivers on the Colts and one of the young stars in the making. Like 4 receptions, 100 yards, a touchdown. He could have had a better game, honestly, if we would have hit him a little bit more. But for what he did, I think he had a pretty good game. For the run game, like I said, Jonathan Taylor, hands down, was unstoppable. Unstoppable. The interception that Anthony Richardson threw, it was it was just a boneheaded throw, honestly. And it was the accident waiting to happen. That whole drive, he just kept trying the corners, kept trying the corners. And then, at one point it just like it was so nonchalant throw. Like he didn't care. He just threw it right to the defenders. And they wind up getting in scoring position. And then Stroud wind up hitting Tank Dell for the touchdown. That can't happen. It's unacceptable. Um, the play calling and the QB has to be better in that drive. I don't know if there was a timeout that needed to be called or like a settle down moment, but at that point, at that close to the game, you can't have plays like that. You just can't. The Colts got shut out in the second quarter. Third quarter, they wind up getting some type of points, but it was a close game the whole time around, and mostly that's because of the Colts defense. The Colts defense had a very solid game. DeForest Buckner came back. He got him a sack. His presence was felt this week. You seen the pressure coming off a defensive line from Latu, Kwity Paye. Those guys got freed up this week, and that's very important from DeForest Buckner. Him being missing games, it definitely showed. It showed how important he is for the defensive line. Nick Cross, Jalen Jones had a solid game. EJ Speed, he had a pretty decent game. He could have been better in coverage. So same thing that goes for Zaire. But other than that, I think Jalen Jones had a pretty decent game. Womack was pretty quiet this game. Um, when you look at Kenny Moore, he was a dog, a flat out dog. But other than that, I think the secondary did the best they could, honestly. But with them being out on the field most of the game, that's going to take a lot of energy. So I think I'm going to solely blame the offense for this performance of why we lost. I think if they would have been better or had like at least one decent drive, the Colts could have put the game away. The Texans was playing pretty much down to the Colts. I think the Texans was putting the Colts in position to win, but they just couldn't take advantage. Diggs went out with an injury. They didn't have Nico Collins, but I think the Colts solidly could have won this game. Um, but the impact guys for the Texans, Will Anderson Jr., uh, Danielle Hunter, they had huge plays. Even Devin White has some big plays as well. And this was his first game in the Texans jersey on the field. But other than that, like those impact guys for the Texans just made plays. Stroud was not the reason they won. Joe Mixon was gashing us on the run again and even in the receiving. And if we can't stop the run, which has been an issue all year, I think it's going to be a long season, honestly. Like a lot of people thought CJ Stroud was going to be the reason, but the run defense, again, was another reason. There was just big runs after big runs. Why we couldn't win this game. And another reason besides the run game and Joe Mixon, we couldn't complete a third down play. I think we was like 0 for 9 on third downs or something like that. But that's just unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. We was 2 for 13. Sorry. We was 2 for 13 on third downs. And Richardson got sacked 5 times. So if we just clean up our mistakes, have our offense be a little bit more polished, because it's a tough stretch for the Colts schedule wise. So they got to figure it out. If not, it's going to be a long season, and it's going to be us probably ending with an even record to end the season. But like I said, our playoff chances are still alive. We just got to lock in. It's that simple. But you guys let me know your thoughts about the game, your reactions to the performance. What could have been better? Your reaction to Richardson comments, his performance. Coach Shane Steichen, let me know your thoughts about him. All these things in the comment section. This is Marcus, and until next time, you've been Culture Shock.